Sam Straits here, welcome back to the railway and welcome back to another locomotive review. Loads of people have asked me to show this one, so I'm finally getting round to it. This is the modern Hornby Golden Eagle, of course A4 in BR Blue, and this one was an eBay find I think, and I can't remember exactly how much I paid for this, but I wasn't planning on buying one. I just happened to see it on eBay and I just thought, wow, you know, that colour is just fantastic. So I bid for it and I wasn't expecting to get it, but I got it for around £80 to £90 I think, which is a very good price for this. So yeah, I hope you're going to enjoy this. A beautiful A4 once again, and for the first time ever I think I'm showing one in BR Blue. So let's do that and see what she's like, shall we? And as you can tell, it's the sort of standard Hornby packaging. I'm not 100% sure when this particular version of the model came out, but this tooling has been around for quite a long time as far as I know. Anyway, let's have a look at the end of the box, show you the product code and everything like that. So this is R3320 BR Class A4 Golden Eagle 60023, which is the running number. And very quickly, if I show you the back of the box, you can see that this was classified as an 8p by the BR, which is quite high I suppose, isn't it, for a Pacific? Well, not that high, but it's quite impressive nonetheless. And then in the middle you've got a whole lot of information, which is definitely worth the read, so if you want to pause it you can do. And then at the far end you can see there are some drawings here of the A4, dated from 2004, so perhaps that's when this tooling was designed. But yeah, I'm fairly sure that it is the same tooling for the sort of older tender driven one, the railroad one, and of course this particular one as well. But I should also say that, you know, even though that's the case, it's still a very good, you know, accurate model, which has been updated as well to suit the needs of the more, I don't know, realistic modelers, I suppose. Okay, well, let's take this outer sleeve off then and have a look inside. There she is, looking absolutely fantastic. I don't know, it's the BR Blue is just breathtaking, isn't it? It really is. Okay, let's have a quick look. Now, the one thing I will say is this one didn't come with a detail pack. I think it was second hand. Now, I've noticed that the brake rigging has been fitted, but there are some pipes which should go on the cylinders which haven't. So I don't have those, but that's okay because I don't fit them anyway. Anyway, let's have a look at the instructions. So this is the operating and maintenance instructions for the Class A4, and inside there it's basically the usual stuff. Nothing surprising, nothing shocking in there, but it just shows you how to fit DCC decoders. Talks about removing the body, and of course removing the body is quite tricky with these because there's a sort of, I think it's a speedometer, isn't it, which is also connected to the body. Quite awkward, but it can be done. And yeah, so all about care for the loco, that sort of thing. Not bothered about that today though. Okay, let's get this out. There we go, take that sleeve off, and let's get this one out, shall we, and see what it's like. Right, lift this up very carefully. There we are. Take the plastic off, and there she is. Wow. This is why I bought it, really, because I just saw it and thought, you know what, I can't not do this. And I know there's some people out there who aren't too keen on BR Blue because it's not all that prototypical. Even though they did appear in this livery, it wasn't used all that often, so it's not something you would have seen too much back in the day. But, you know, I'd agree if every model came out in BR Blue, but for a change, you've just got to love it, haven't you? Look at that. Golden Eagle then, 60023, absolutely fantastic. And I'm going to review her up close and personal in just a second, but for now, here's a little bit of history on the A4s. I know I've read this one out loads of times before, but just in case anybody's interested, here we go. So a few quick shout outs first then. One to Camille's Model Railway, Jeffrey Almeida Baba, I'm sorry if I said that wrong, I know you told me how to say it but I forgot, the Bluebell Engine, and Thomas and Damien Productions. Thank you guys very much for getting in touch, I really do appreciate that. Anyway, the A4s were a class of LNER Pacifics designed by Sir Nigel Gresley and introduced in 1935. The first locomotive was actually Silver Link, which amazingly broke all speed records during its first run. The A4s were made most famous though by Mallard, which was known as the world's fastest steamer locomotive, which broke that record in 1938 at 126 miles per hour, but the A4s were actually based on the A1, which was also a Gresley design but produced around 15 years previously. 35 of these A4s were built in total and 6 are left in preservation, but sadly Golden Eagle was withdrawn in 1964 and never preserved. All members of the class retained their streamlining permanently, unlike other classes, like the Coronation for example, which did have it removed eventually, but no, the A4s kept theirs, and all the ones that are preserved of course do still have theirs too. Okay, let's have a look at this Golden Eagle then. Okay, so there she is then, the fantastic Golden Eagle, and I'll probably say it about 30 times in this video, but the BR Blue is just breathtaking, isn't it? It really is. Now, of course, I've already mentioned that this is probably the same tooling used on the railroad versions of this and versions of this from, 10, 15 years ago. And normally that would be cause for concern, because you would be wondering, why has this been put into Railways packaging and am I being ripped off? Well, for once from Hornby, I don't think that's the case, because these are a little bit more expensive than the railroad ones. You tend to pay £70, £80 for a railroad one, and I think these come in at normally around £120 brand new from Hornby. I'm not 100% sure of that, but the point is they are a little bit more expensive. But I think with these there is quite a big upgrade in terms of detail from the railroad version, and I think for once the price is actually justified in that. I think the extra money does easily justify the extra detail. So let's talk about some of that then. Let's talk about the differences between this and the railroad version, and I'm going to point out some of the differences between the two. So the most noticeable thing probably is this shaft here, which is probably the reverser, is it? Yes, it looks like it, which you can see just there. That's a very nicely separately fitted metal piece, and that is very nice. I do love it when you get those separately fitted metal pieces on the body, and you don't get that with the railroad version. Also, quite noticeably around the cab you do have the glazed windows, which you don't get on the railroad model, and that's a very nice touch, I think. I think that really does make a big difference. And in fact the whole cab area is quite a bit different to the railroad versions. First of all, because on the roof you have these actual, let me show you, air intakes for the crew, which do open and close. So there's those, I think there's 4 in total. You've got those ones on the edge there, and then these ones on the top. So again, it's a bit frivolous, isn't it? But you don't get those on the railroad model, so that's where your money's gone. And of course, inside the cab you do have very, very beautiful detailing, which you never did get with the railroad models. I think actually, quite interestingly, it is the same cab as the railroad version, but of course it has been painted, which obviously will cost them quite a lot. I also think the livery is quite a bit different from the railroad ones. My railroad ones are quite basic. You certainly don't have this beautiful lining on the boiler on any of those, and as you can tell, the lining is just beautifully done. But it does raise the price, of course. To have a colour like BR Blue put onto a model and to have all that lining applied obviously raises the price, and I do understand that, and I think it's worth the money. But yeah, that is a noticeable difference. And let's have a look at some of the other details then. Let's talk about separately fitted parts first. Let's go and look down towards the buffer beam, because you do have sprung buffers on this fantastic model. Yep, as you can see, there we go, good sign of quality there. And you also have the chain link coupling on the front there, and also a vacuum pipe. And there are lots of separately fitted metal parts as well, including the safety valves there just on top of the cab, which are set into the body. Quite interesting that, because even those help that streamlined effect. There's nothing protruding out the top of the locomotive, as you can see. And just in front of the single chimney you can see that there is the whistle, which is also metal and separately fitted, so that is very, very nice indeed. And I think with that being said, that's just about it. Now, there is the tendency with the A4s to look at the models and think, ooh, there's not a lot of detail on there, but I don't think that's really the model's fault. I don't think it's Hornby's fault. I just think it's because of the streamlining. Obviously the streamlining covers up most of the detail that you would normally see on the boiler, so you don't see all the pipe work, you don't really see the smoke box or anything like that. So I think that's the reason. I think just inherently the locomotives in real life didn't look all that detailed, in inverted commas. But yeah, I am fully confident that this model is accurate, so that's the main thing. Okay, before we move on to the tender, I will just show you the painted detail, because I think that is lovely to see. Just on the side of the cab there, you've got the running number, of course, very nicely applied, as well as the route availability, and 10 points to the first person who could tell me what that little badge says just underneath the running number, because I can't read that from where I'm sitting. It's much too small. Hopefully the camera will pick that up though. And finally then, let me show you the Golden Eagle nameplate. I'm not 100% sure whether that is etched or not, but it certainly looks very nicely done, so that's the main thing. Okay, let's look at the tender then, and in fact the tender is different to the railroad tender, I believe. Generally it is just much more detailed. So let's have a look at the paintwork first. Of course, you've got the lovely early British Railways crest just in the centre there, and that is all surrounded by this lovely white and black lining, which really does look gorgeous, as I will say quite a lot today probably. Up on top you've got a very realistic looking coal load, which is removable, and I know that because it came out in my hands while I was putting this loco into its box ready for this video. But that's good news, because if you wanted to replace it with crushed coal or anything like that, you can do, and that is perfectly okay. And round the back you can see there are separately fitted handrails, and I think the lamp irons are part of the moulding, but that's okay. And I must admit as well, for the loco too, most of the handrails are separately fitted and not just part of the moulding, which is another difference from the railroad version. So there you have it then, the Golden Eagle A4. I realise I've talked for quite a while about this one, so I'm not going to go into any more detail than that. But for now then, let's take her down onto the tracks and do a little bit of performance with her, shall we? So there she is then, Golden Eagle, down onto the track, ready to be tested, and I've got her ready to be pulling some ex-LNER coaches, because of course she is an ex-LNER locomotive, so that should be lovely. And for now then, let's get her started, see if we can do a bit of slow speed performance, and generally, from what I know of these, they are very good. Even the railroad ones are fantastic at slow speed. I'm just turning the power up, very, very gently mind, and there you go. She's kicked in at about that speed, and I would say that is very, very good. It is, I don't know if it comes through on the camera, but it's a little bit jerky at this speed, and of course that's not a complaint at all, because it would be, you know, it's very, very rare to get a loco that runs better than this, but there are some that are better out there, that's all I will say. But as you can see, it is beautifully smooth, and also beautifully quiet. I can't hear a thing coming from her. So that's got to be a very good performance, hasn't it? It really has. Look at that go. And all that, I mean, I do like the fact that you haven't got the casing over the wheels, because you can see the beautiful valve gear and linkage going there. Oh yes. Okay, well, I could sit and watch this for a little while longer, but for the sake of the video and for the sake of your sanity, I'm going to go and get her coupled to the coaches. So here we go. Off she goes to the coaches. There we go. And there are loads of other engines out on the line today as well, but they all have a strictly BR Blue theme. So see if you can spot all of those, and if you're feeling ready for a challenge, see if you can spot which is the exception. Because there is one that isn't in BR Blue, so see if you can spot which one that is. But for now, Golden Eagle is just in position, so let me focus her in, and let's get her going, and I'll show you what else is going to be running alongside her. So let's see if she can manage these coaches. Nope, she's uncoupled from them. Well done, girl. Actually, just to stop her doing that again, I'm going to make sure that all the coupling hooks have lined up. And they have now. Oh no, the coach has come off the track. Oh goodness sake. No, we're okay. I think we're okay. I've said that now, so it's probably going to come uncoupled again, but makes you wonder why this happens on camera, because I've never had that problem before. It's almost like there's some little creature on the track sabotaging things, I don't know. Anyway, let me show you what's on the middle line then. And just coming around the corner we have another beautiful BR Blue loco. This one is the Merchant Navy, so a southern loco, and she's got some Pullman coaches, which I do love to run, so I hope you like seeing those as well. And just coming in on the third line we have the A1 Tornado, which is also in BR Blue of course. And she's got some lovely crimson coaches, which hopefully should look lovely. So enjoy the running session. The A4's just coming in again now, and don't forget to see what else you can spot. And do let me know in the comments, and we'll see who does the best. Oh, look at all those LNER coaches. Oh, there's nothing like a rake of LNER coaches. I've said it before, but I'll say it again. There we are, that's Mark Horner's favourite engine there, Canadian Pacific. I don't think I mentioned that it was Canadian Pacific, so yeah, I have now. But yeah, I think those coaches match Golden Eagle absolutely perfectly, don't they? There's a couple of brakes on that one as well. I must admit the Hornby A4s are very impressive pullers. This is a very big train that she's pulling, and I can't see her slowing down at all, can't see any wheel slip, and the loco isn't even that heavy, so I don't know how she does it, but she does do it very impressively. Okay, let's have a look at the ratings then for the Hornby A4. First of all, detail 9 out of 10, very impressive detail to be honest, very good marks there, 9 out of 10. Performance 9 out of 10, although she's not the very slowest performer we've ever seen, she certainly is a good puller and she does a very good and smooth job too, so fantastic performance. Character 10 out of 10, you just have to love the character of the A4s, and I'm pretty sure that Hornby have captured them perfectly, so good marks there, 10 out of 10. Build quality 9 out of 10. I think I did have to glue the rear buffer beam back on, but apart from that I can't fault the build quality, so good marks there. And again, value for £80, it's very good value, but for Hornby's price of, you know, £100 to £150 or thereabouts, it's still pretty good, I think, for what you get. So 8 out of 10 there. Overall then, that gives her 9.09 out of 10, and in she goes to the rankings. Let's see, yep, she got 8th, just above the Terrier and below the Hornby L1. Wow. That BR Blue, I tell you, it's what takes my breath away. Fantastic. It is a beautiful livery, and I don't care that it's not all that realistic. Well, realistic is the wrong word, but obviously it wasn't seen that often, was it? There's one that isn't very realistic though, at the front there. I bet lots of people will know what that is. Looks like we've got a fence blown down. I didn't know there was a storm. Must have been. Probably a storm in the form of my feet walking over the layout, something like that. I don't know. I hope not. I wasn't aware that I'd done that. You never know though, I suppose. Well, there you have it then folks, a little bit of an extended running session today, and that always seems to happen when I find myself enjoying it a little bit too much. But yeah, as I keep saying, there's nothing quite like BR Blue, and I do just love seeing it go by, so yeah, hope you did enjoy the little bit of an extended running session. Anyway, if you did like the video, please feel free to leave it a like or even a comment, because I do love it when you guys get in touch, and any feedback you have at any time would be very much appreciated, of course. And also, if you'd like to, please feel free to check out the Facebook or Twitter pages, and those are at facebook.com/samstrains or twitter.com/samstrains. It would be lovely to see you over there, so yep, do feel free to check that out if you'd like to. And also, here's a little shot of the Wall of Fame, growing up nicely. I've still got a few more photos to print off, but I keep doing those steadily, so if you've sent one in recently, you should see it before all too long. But for now, I think that is just about it, so once again, I hope you enjoyed the video as much as I did, and I will see you all very, very soon. Okay, thanks for watching, folks.